final years of the war, when hope was nothing more than a whispered memory, they turned to science. It was called Project No Brainer, a last-ditch experiment to bring the dead back to fight the living's war. They unleashed a nerve agent, synthetic and forbidden, coded to rewire the human brain, not to heal, but to resurrect. At first it worked. The corpses marched. They obeyed. They killed. More expandable than the living, and without morals, they were the perfect army. They remember death. They remember who brought them back, and they're done taking orders. The war is no longer between nations. It's between the living and the revived. This is not resurrection. It's a recruitment. Operation No Brainer. In 1973, one man dared to cut deeper. Banned from medicine, but not from madness. Dr. Malcolm Gore is back with his own prescription for pain. You thought it was just a show, but this performance, it's permanent. Dr. Gore coming 2026, presented by Horror Nights.
The show is about to begin. Make sure to get your snacks. Turn off those cell phones. And stay seated at all times. Enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, back for another episode of VSW Podcast. Now, we haven't been on in quite some time, folks. I have to say, it's been quite a minute. I mean, life's been happening, a lot of different things. But we're back, and we're back with a very special guest. Now, you might know him. You probably do. I mean, we work together. Some people like him. A lot of people don't really like him. But nobody really knows him. And today I think that's what we're going to get to. We're going to get to know this person. So welcome for the first time officially on the VSW podcast, the one and only Mr. Victor Sin.
Appreciate you taking the time on my busy schedule to have me on your show. And I don't give a flying fuck if people don't like me or not. It's just, I am who I am. I'm real. I'm legit. Take it as it's worth.
Well, I mean, I think you need the hate. You need the hate to get, the love. Like, what's pleasure without pain? What is one without the other?
Very true. The yin and the yang.
You need that. You need that. And honestly, your hate comes from the controversy. Your hate comes from your takes. Your hate comes from the fact that a lot of it comes from the fact that people don't like that you don't bow down and suck WWE's dick.
There's a lot of confusion about that because we report news. We see business transactions that happen that could go awry. We report it. That is what we do. Doesn't mean we do not like the company. It's just some of the things they do, we question.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and not for nothing. I mean, is there any company really out there? I mean, I can maybe name one or two. I can name two companies that I know of that I probably wouldn't question anything. But out of even independent scene, major scenes, there's always going to be moments where you look at a company and be like, well, why did they do that? Or that's questionable. That's suspect. Because let's just face it, the wrestling industry isn't the cleanest industry. I know every industry isn't clean, but for some reason, the wrestling industry just seems more dirtier than not. Duke Dumpster Droese coming out as being another, predator. I mean, he was the last person that me personally would think in my head, oh shit, I bet he's going to get called out. Like, I mean, the dude I think was still doing conventions. People still looked up to him. He was one of those jobbers that people actually like enjoyed. But seeing these people that we grew up with and idolizing now just becoming monsters and probably were always monsters, it makes you even question what who your true heroes were.
I had a conversation with another podcaster last week. Wasn't on this show. You're the first show that I've wanted to be the guest on when Victor Singh came out. We talked about the possibility that professional wrestling itself is becoming just the hub of pedophiles, just a perfect smokescreen for pedophiles. More than anything, because more and more, like you have Pat Patterson, you have the list of WWE former employees, you have other wrestlers in the independent scene that's coming out, getting exposed. It's just also you have the promoters going back and forth saying this guy's a pedophile, that guy's a pedophile, no facts behind it, but they're calling him that. It makes you wonder.
Well, it does. And I mean, let's face it, this has kind of been, I think a lot of people's eyes were opened up in 2020, right? The speaking out and all of that, it really opened the eyes to, where it hit, WWE, hit AEW, hit all that, but it also hit at home. There was people here, there was promoters here, there were wrestlers here that got called out. Some of them canceled, some of them evaded it, some of them, I don't know, just unproven. I don't know how it all works, honestly, because a lot of the accusations, true or not true, I don't know what came of it. And that's fine. I don't need to. I'm not a justice-seeking warrior. I need to see the end of this all. As long as the victims are at peace of whatever happened out of it, and for some of them, been used in wrestling everywhere. Others were looking for other things. I think. I don't know, honestly. But it made it really brought it home when you started to see names. You've taken photos of these people with, and that you've seen that shows, local shows, it makes you really, the wrestling world, but just the world in general. Because some of these people you thought you knew, some of the wrestlers were good friends with some of these people, and they were just completely gutted when this shit came out. And it makes you wonder, even your own friends or your own dealings, and nobody, who can be trusted, who really can be, especially when it comes to the kids, children. If you have children, I know you do. I have, a son. I'm really kind of picky on, you know, who's around him, or who I let him be with alone. I mean, there's not really many. I mean, he has a couple of friends, and I know their families pretty well. But besides that, it's like I like to keep my eye on things because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And also, you got to keep in mind the fact of, let's say you see this, I'm going to say Bob the ring announcer is called. You have to look at him as well, not only and say, could you be a pedophile? Could you not? Or do you know something that's going on behind the scenes and you're just not saying anything? Because that's guilty by association.
Well,
it's just as bad these days.
thing. Some of this stuff gets weaponized because you can know about it, right? But wait for a key moment to release the information. So, I could, if Joe Schmo was an offender, yeah, I could out him right now. But word has it he's going to NXT in 3 weeks. He's going to get a contract. I might as well wait for the bigger opportunity. Out him on NXT. This might be some finances behind it. And there was other things too. There was cases that like people did shit, got let go, or got fight on the local scene, got picked up elsewhere, started acting up, and then the first company was like, "Oh yeah, promotions before getting rid of your problems." If you don't warn people, then they're just gonna, episodes on other shows where we've warned, I guess, the wrestling population of problematic people, whether it be abusers, offenders, bad promoters, whatever it may be. We got a bunch of stories at one point from all these different people, of all these people that we should talk about not being on, like the politician was one of them. He had a story and he offended a bunch of people. That Chris Anino dude was another. You know, there was evidence against that. And we didn't, come with judgments. We didn't come in with, gavels, but we just came to educate the public. Sometimes they don't do that, and these people slip through the cracks, and they just, they stop their behaviors and they start up again a couple of years later elsewhere. And it's like, well, you already knew about this. These people could have been stopped.
There's one connection with everything, because you have to look at it this way. You say, like, WWE, it's like Lee Fitting. He was accused when he was working at ESPN for body shaming, making fun of people because of their weight issues, whatever. WWE picked him up. Didn't care. Didn't care for the fact what he did before White got released by ESPN. They still picked him up.
Well,
but you have to think, like, what would people care? That's the question. These days, it's becoming more of a coin toss. Before, it was people would care, blow up social media. Now it's a coin toss.
I don't know if people care or not. I mean, they care to some degree, but okay. For instance, if a pedophile comes out in WWE, and I mean, this is with good reasoning. They're not going to blame the WWE. They're going to be, oh my God, WWE is a fucking cesspool. They're going to blame the wrestler and out him. They're not going to take it out on WWE. WWE is accountable for a bunch of stuff because they knew about a bunch of stuff. That was proven. That was just brought up in that Ring Boys case that all these people knew that it happened and let it go. It becomes a little bit. But the brand isn't going to hold WWE accountable for the one man's actions. They just won't. And I think that's why you have people that will still defend WWE knowing that there's monsters freaking basically just living there. And one person's deeds is, if you take it to a different corporation or something, one bad employee shouldn't give you the image that the whole company sucks. But I don't know. Again, it goes back to, well, if these people are problematic, and this is on the indie scene, it's on the sexually problematic, because we got more issues than just sexually problematic now. Back in 2020, yes, if people were sex predators and such, they weren't getting booked. That was a big no-no, and it still is. But beliefs, political stance, all of that now comes into play too. As you remember, not too long ago, Jake Hager got canceled out here in this area because of political belief. I agree with it or not agree with it, this is how it happens. If you come out and start bashing, the transgender community, you're not going to work anywhere in wrestling. Now, these are the facts. If you're racist, you're not working anywhere in wrestling. Now it becomes a problem for me when these companies know that these people are racist. They know that these people are, abusive, condescending, whatever the issue might be, and then they continue to employ them because it's A, necessity, or B, they make money, or just because someone's good at what they do doesn't mean that you have to use them, because again, they can be really shitty people. But that's corporate America, that's the greed, that's all that. People put these things aside and they use them. Should Hogan really have been brought out all these times after what he'd said publicly? No, probably not. But he's a moneymaker for a lot of people in WWE. Even people like Kane got himself in a lot of wins, but it's crazy. And I've seen the indie scene use people. I mean, it's better now. This area is great, but you see these people get booked, and I'm just like, why the fuck are they working? Don't people know what they did? And because I don't like a lot of people know. When did you get involved with? I mean, I'm guessing you were a lifelong wrestling fan. You know, we talked about that, but when did you get involved in the indie scene? What sparked your interest in that?
Actually, I hate to do this, but my daughter has thrown up in school.
Okay,
So
I get that. I mean, that's the life of a parent. You know, that's the double life of anybody, you know, when you're an actual parent and then you have to actually do something.
I'll be back in half hour.
Yeah, I mean, you let me know. The people on Facebook Live will be back. And everything else can be edited, really. Yeah, hit me back when you come back.
Actually, I'll call you on Messenger.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about this.
No worries. No worries. Thank you, Victor Sim, for coming on. We'll see you real soon. Go deal with your fam.
Yes, yeah, thanks. Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. And we will be back with more. He does have to run. You know, that is something that happens quite often, family. And family does come first when you have kids, school issues and all that. You got to deal with it. It's most important. But we will be back with this interview. Again, if you have questions, let me know. If you want me to ask Victor Sin anything. Again, though, we want to get to know him. I want to know back with more of the Okay, welcome back, everybody. We had to take a small little break, you know, like I mentioned, family come first. You know, being the parent that stays home with children, you tend to have to do and play many roles, run around, do a bunch of different things that you don't even think about. But welcome back. Welcome back to the hot seat. We were just getting to bread a bit. I was just about to ask you, what got your attention in the indie scene that made you gear towards?
First of all, I apologize. You're right. You know, my daughter apparently has a stomach bug that's bouncing around her skull, so gotta beat daddy first. What got me into independent scene was I started seeing like the stars like Northeast Wrestling a couple years ago during their WrestleFest. They had like Sammy Guevara and his wife in there. So, you know, you go there to see them, and then you like pay attention to like other talent as well, and you're just like, that guy's, you know, you just see it. After so many years of wrestling, you'll see unnoticed botches, you notice, you know, imperfections, and you'll just see about the smoothness they'll be in the ring. And their character is just like, if you get flashbacks of like, man, I can see this guy in WWE or AEW, then you just want to see this guy more because right at this time he's cheap to see. It's $30 to see. Once he hits the big leagues, it's gonna be what, $100, $150. So right there, it's like kind of like you're investing like future stocks, future investments. You know, like this guy's got it, that guy got it. One guy I want to bring up, who I said had the equality, and no one was like about it because they never heard of him. They do now. Brad Baylor.
Oh yeah, I mean WWE, NXT, like he's made a real good name for himself.
Yep. Then I mentioned to you about seeing Sammy Guevara. He was at the event, and right there, I was just like, he has it, but is it good? Right there, I was like, is it good enough? And I was like, you know what, fuck it, he's good enough. I said.
Do you find a difference in attitude from like those that have like done that grind, you know, like the Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylors and others that have, you know, worked these indie scenes, worked low crowds, and then made it compared to like in-house WWE stars? Do you feel like there's an attitude difference between the two?
Yes and no. Some of them you do. You see it because they appreciate where they came from. And so a lot of people though these days is kind of like, I don't have to worry about that guy now because I made it. And that's like very poor business because we just saw recently the bunch of cuts the WWE just made. So you telling everyone, go fuck everyone, I'm WWE now, then you get cut. What do you do that?
Yeah, but isn't that every year? Every year WWE has major cuts, usually before Mania to bring in some people, then after Mania to do some stuff. They always trim the excess fat, and then it all evens back out around Mania time again.
Yeah, I mean you're right, but you guys also remember that when you get WWE as a wrestler yourself, you must remember where you came from, because when those cuts happen, if you're on the list and you're going back to the indie scene, we're gonna say, "Hey, buddy, remember me?" No, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Yeah, I remember you. You're an asshole. You told me to fuck off because you're big time now."
Yeah, or you can come back like Dijak and just fucking just work everywhere.
Yeah, I mean Dijak, he didn't burn any bridges.
No, Dijak didn't, Fandango did. There's like a few that didn't, but I'm sure that it all just depends on, how high up in WWE you got. I feel like, if they were to let, first of all, the other thing is the price tags. Like I remember Jinder Mahal got released and they were having a price tag at around $5K. That's not feasible for your typical indie show to bring that in.
Braun Strowman's 10K.
That's, again, I mean, I don't even think you'll make that back with the gate.
You see, there's some people that look at it as in like, you were an asshole, but business-wise, you're good. It's like with us with the WWE. Yeah, they do this, Janelle Grant, the Ring Boys or whatever. But business-wise, could they benefit us? Yes. Then ride their coattails.
Yeah, no. I mean, you don't have to ride their coattails, but I mean, some of it now has changed since years past. 2 years ago, a year ago, I'd say there's no point in even mentioning them. It's in two different worlds, two different universes, even. Today, not so much. With the ID and the crossovers, it's become somewhat relevant in the indie scene as you have WWE ID matches and people getting ID'd and people going for that. So it's worth to watch, at least to see, for me anyways, where these kids will end up and how they're doing there. And will they be just turned around and sent back, or will they actually be used and make it? I mean, are we looking at some of the next biggest, names in sports entertainment?
What I'm about to say is going to be here's your viral moment. The viral moment when people say, fuck you, Victor said. It is true. The facts back it up, the figures back it up, and just watching everything backs it up. What I do sometimes is I will go outside, no phone, nothing, start a fire in my fire pit, and I just reflect, just kind of think. And one night, sitting back having a tequila, Hornitos to be exact, it dawned upon me that everything, the WWE, the fan base, the pedophiles and everything like that has one connection to it. They're Americans. You do not hear any of this drama in the international scene. You do not hear any like these fake accounts, international scene. If this is going to ruffle some feathers, but this is the absolute fact. Americans are not well educated and they get manipulated. 54% can't read above a sixth grade level. 28% can't only do level 1 math, basic of just addition and subtraction. This is why WWE fans can be brainwashed easily, and this is why Trump supporters can be brainwashed easily, among other organizations, presidents, people, and influencers. They can.
Wasn't there issues though with WWE in UK and a bunch of fucking sexual issues?
But you don't hear people like coming in saying like, "Oh, WWE, fuck you, this is that." You don't see the fans reacting as toxic as American fans do.
No, but I have seen foreign fans not understand the idea of kayfabe. I mean, I've had people. I remember back in the day, people were like, I hope Roman Reigns dies so he doesn't come back and win the title."
And you always gotta
But,
have some bad apples in the barrel, but the
well,
independent fans are more respectful towards the business. They show respect. They don't think it's a privilege.
because they don't know, or they're not around it, or yes, they show respect. But you got to remember, to Americans, but to even a lot of people, wrestling is a comedy actor. Just a step. It's like slapstick comedy, like watching Three Stooges. It's not meant to be taken serious by a lot of people. You got grown men wearing tights.
I mean,
All oiled up, fucking wrestling each other in a ring in front of people. At points in time, it's hard to even take that serious.
I mean, you're right, but to the American public, it's like they're using that show to influence your political point of view. You're influencing it like they're not paying attention, like they're brainwashing people. Like, oh, okay, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be what they do in Sweden. You go there, you bring your honey, balcony view, little glasses, you watch them wrestle. It's a show. That's all it is. But it's being weaponized as in a regular, everyday event like football or basketball, which is not. It is predetermined. It is, I don't want to say fake, but compared to football or basketball, they know the outcome of the matches.
Well, you don't think they know the outcome of the football? You don't think not maybe so much, but you don't think they maximize series to get the most money out of venues?
I mean, if you talk about playoffs, yes, but if you're talking about like Indianapolis at Jacksonville week 2.
No, that's nothing. But I think that they definitely maximize sales, and they make games stretch out if they want to make more money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it's like wrestling, every time who's before the wrestlers before going the ring.
Of course. I mean, yes, there's a booker involved that books the matches, and we all know how it works. I mean, I think most of the people that are probably going to watch this knows how it works. If they don't, bookers themselves are somehow part of the business, but
I don't mean to interrupt. Let me give you
I do find it funny how people bring so much drama and chaos and like hatred towards results of something that is predetermined. It's almost like, you watch the TV show and you don't like what happened this weekend, but you start attacking people over it. And to me, that's bizarre because it is television. It is entertainment. It is a show.
It is a show, but like the releases that happened. Brianna, I'm sorry, Cora Jade came out and said that there was fat shaming, and people were making fun of any imperfections that behind the scenes. Later that day, she's like, now she's going back her name. She's looking for bookings when she's released. Put her email address out. What happened was her email got flooded by WWE fans calling her slut, calling her whore, saying like, how did you just fighting for the? It's like, for what? It's like you might as well be saying the same thing about SpongeBob. I don't like how SpongeBob ended. Well, fuck you, SpongeBob is this, SpongeBob. It's the same thing. It's entertainment. It's not real life.
It is, and what people with the fans don't understand is a lot of these wrestlers don't have as much creative power as one would think. They're given a script, they're told what to do, and they got to follow the parameters of that.
I mean, what I did when I heard this was, when you're just like the host of this show, an educated wrestling fan, you have connections. So what I did was I had Brianna's cell phone number. I shot her a text right there and just said, don't listen to those assholes. You're going to be great. You'll be fine. And her exact words, that's actually really sweet of you, Vic. Thank you for the support.
That was nice.
So it's like, it's just like, why you fight? You got to look at the WWE or you got to look at the wrestler, the talent itself. The talent itself, I thought she was an up-and-comer. You don't fucking blast her because the WWE decision.
Yeah, but it all started over body shame, which unfortunately these women put their bodies on the line because the fans just don't. They can't see them as athletes. They see them women as still as entertainers, and to them it's almost like a strip show. They want to see these fucking weird ass poses and shit and these moves and stuff. You can see by what they post online, the clips that they stop at, the screenshots that they take. The most perverted parts that they can find, they screenshot that shit.
And did you see that in the international scene? Or do you see that in the American scene?
No, I honestly don't. And something like slam wrestling, I don't see that at all. I see the women there as being athletes and treated as athletes. You know, and I get it for a lot of people. Maybe the Attitude Era hasn't, their mind hasn't really caught up, or it hasn't changed to them, because women were at one point just part of the show. They were popcorn entertainment, just get it out there, or just for the sex factor,
And that's the majority of Americans.
Well, yeah, because sex sells, and we all know that. You throw a girl out there with big tits, and it's gonna make things move.
I mean, let's be honest. In your life as a wrestling fan, I will admit this right now. I jerked off over a female fan before, a wrestler before. We all have, especially when they were doing Playboy magazines. We all have. But we don't go out and say, "Oh, look at her tits." Da, da, da. You keep that private.
Yeah, but again, those were like when I was probably like an adolescent or a teenager, and yeah, they hit me with the Attitude Era at a time that I was at that age where everything was like blooming and shit, and yeah, Playboy was there, and there was also bra and panties match. I mean, what was the point of a bra and panties match? To see the female in bra and panties. It wasn't for the wrestling, believe me.
Yeah, but you were
there was Jerry Lawler and the whole puppies and all of that, and I would even remember going to shows, Raws and stuff, and the females in attendance would be showing their tits all the time, nonstop, right in front of my face, and so it was just a whole different environment.
Yeah, it's just this kind of like I don't want to. This is reality. It's the WWE has a dark side that they do not expose. If it was
I wouldn't even say that's a dark side. I would say that was part of what the late 90s and early 2000s kind of was. If you went to a concert, it was almost the same. Girls would show themselves off topless. I think the world was more sexually, I wouldn't say more open, because they're more open-minded now, but it was just different. It was just, there was less respect. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint, but it was a different era. You could get away with different things. Even in cinema and movies and the kind of movies that were made all through the years, 80s, 90s, into, if you look at today, a lot of the topics you probably couldn't get away with. It would offend somebody. People weren't offended back then. They kind of just said, well, that's your opinion. Go fuck yourself. Okay, cool. And everybody just walked away. The offending wasn't really there.
Let's take last year. Let's just take the WrestleMania that just recently happened. Behind the scenes, what people don't know about, and may God forbid if anyone reports it, there were a bunch of fights that broke out in the stands at WrestleMania. 33 people were hurt. 2 of them critically because of stabbings that went on. We don't talk about that.
No, but I don't know about stabbing, but I'm guessing there's regular fights at any sports events. Anywhere you got alcohol and people, there's guaranteed to be at least one fight.
Here, you're right. But let me give you another example. The Stone Cold Steve Austin hitting the barricade. We all heard about it, right?
Yeah.
Did you know what happened prior to him coming out?
No, that I don't.
He was hitting shit in the back. So it's like, why are you going to have him come out still in the four-wheeler when you know that for some reason he can't control it? Why? Because the barricade's there. Well, look what happened.
Well, that's the risk factor. That's what probably got Owen Hart killed. They never really have put regard for things, and they've always put the entertainment factor or the pop factor first.
I'm not going to shit on WrestleMania. I thought WrestleMania was decent. I enjoyed it.
It was good. I'm glad I didn't go and spend those prices, but it was good.
Average price someone spent at WrestleMania is $20,000.
Yeah, one of my ex-friends was talking about how it was like $700 for one night for one ticket and something for another. And yet he was fighting me for gas money when I drove 4 hours round trips. And I'm just
people were there just on their cell phones because they're so far back just to zoom in.
That's the thing, I'm not gonna pay if I have to watch on a Titantron. If I have to watch on my cell phone, I might as well watch it. That's just the fact of it.
if you were to be part of the festivities, you did a meet and greet, or you went to NXT the night before, and you just happened to have that far back. Okay, it was bang for your buck. It is what it is. But if you're going there to see WrestleMania only, and that's your seat,
yeah. But even being part of the festivities, I mean, Stone Cold meet and greet to walk by, get a photo with him was $350. He wouldn't even talk to you. There was no talking. There was like thousands of people to wait for him. Everybody just had to move. Line.
And confirm reports say CM Punk as well.
Yes. That's a lot of money for this nothing. I mean, I've been, I'm not saying maybe they're not as known as fucking Stone Cold or CM Punk, but I mean, I went to some horror conventions. I saw some cool horror characters. They were in the $70 range.
And I'm critical about this wrestler. I have been on before, but I'm give him props right now. The one wrestler that's getting a lot of spotlight, and he's still down to earth for the fans, Joe Henry.
Yeah, there's something about Joe Henry. I'm gonna, like I said, when I had that dinner meet and greet with him, that he just was an average Joe.
Yeah, I mean that's what you need. You need someone to say be there for the fans, not be there.
He's what I would call a blue-collar wrestler. Like, he has a regular job. The fact that he made Stardom, or he even has made it where he is, miracle. Most people don't or can't, or get that way. He's not just done it with his wrestling, though, or he's done it with the music, too, which is doubly impressive. He's used creativity. I do have to give it to Joe, because at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, people still love this guy.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you don't have to win to be over. You don't have to be a world champion in WWE to be over. You can still be very popular and not hold the title in WWE.
Meanwhile, you're paying $500 to see both Usos.
It's just I paid, I think, $100, for Joe Henry, and he answered questions. He had a talk to you, freaking. He did all of that. I mean,
if you just even spent $100 and it was just like a quick autograph, shakes your hand, does a picture, thank you very much. 2 minutes, he was at least friendly.
I mean, $150 the other day for Ashley Lawrence from Hellraiser, and I guess that's a little pricey for what I've been told, but it was a private meet and greet, so one person at a time went in and meet her. You could ask her basically anything. She was chill. That came with the 8x10. Also came with a pro photo.
And these are the same people that probably paid
phone. Plus, it included, everything else: the movie, the screening, the question and answering, and all that panel shit. I can deal with that. I can deal with that kind of stuff. But when you're talking $350 and the guy can't even acknowledge me or answer a question I might have wanted to ask him forever, there's something wrong there.
I mean, how's that different if you spend $150 for the meet and greet? How is that any different if you see Bullet from Valentine? You get your ticket. Hey, you can upgrade to the VIP package. You can meet them for $150, and you say yes. How is that different? It's not. It's the same thing. Not. You still got your bang for your dollar. Yeah, it's a little pricey these days, but it could be worse. But
I mean, I went to the horror convention the week before, and for the $350, I met three actors. I met the kid that played Tommy Jarvis, and he played in Return of the Living Dead. I met CJ, who played Jason in Part 6, and then I met Linnea Quigley, who was in a whole bunch of movies, from Night of the Demons, Return of the Living Dead, a true screen queen. All of those meet and greets with photos, autograph, was under $350. And they would answer questions. They would sit and talk with you. Yeah. They would stop if you remember something or had a question. They would answer that. And honestly, sometimes you do have questions. Hey, what was it like? You see a movie and you see a weird scene or something. Hey, what was it like being in that scene? There was a scene in Hellraiser where one of the Cenobites sticks his fingers in Kirsty's mouth, and she was talking about the scene, and somebody asked her about it. It was just totally gross how it tasted and shit. But people wonder these things as fans, and they might hold on to it and then wait. At least they get answered. In wrestling, it's like, no. Not everybody's like that, granted, but I feel like when it's WWE owned or it's big stars, it's very little. Or you're paying big money, like the $10,000 packages to have Hogan chill with you. I mean, why don't you just buy a friend? Jesus Christ. Come on.
But even if you get the WrestleMania cheap seats, and you only went down for that. You spend, let's say, $400 or $500. And you're like, Jesus Christ, that's right. And the person goes, yeah, but I said the electricity was there. It's going to be a memory that will always remember. Isn't that memory worth any amount of money? It's like your $150. Who cares if people say it's expensive? How did you have a good time? Was it worth it? Are you always remember it? All matters.
Yes and no. I mean, it does, but the gouge has gone up, the prices have gone up, everything has gone up, and they know this and they take advantage of it. And you're paying for stuff that, extra money that you probably shouldn't, need to be paying.
I'm not saying it's a smart way to spend your money, but if someone says that, it's like, okay, whatever, you have a reason. Not just, well, fuck you. It's like, I'm not saying.
Oh, I know. I mean, the people that go to these things, I don't down them. I mean, everybody has their things. I mean, I've been on that end of it. Not so much with WWE. Because, the WrestleCons and such has been, to me, have always been overpriced, and I just don't see the point. If there's people that I wanted autographs from, I just went straight to eBay and bought from, a certified dealer of autographs. Plus, a lot of people that I enjoyed aren't alive anymore. Second, but I have been into the horror, and I have been into collecting stuff and different stuff and the indie stuff. And so I know it, I don't, you go around, you collect stuff. There's nothing wrong with this. As well as I do, sometimes wrestling events can be quite expensive. You start buying T-shirts or 8x10s, and there's a bunch of different guys you want to meet. It's a night out.
Yeah, I just bought a Roman Reigns shirt. That's right. I'm critical about WWE, and I give my money to them still.
But even in the indies, I probably spent maybe like $120 on last year's luau. Just on merch.
Yeah, but did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was a good show, and it was fun, and we saw Dijak return, and it was going nuts, and it was a good time. I don't complain about spending the money. That's why I don't shame people for spending that. It's just I shame more the wrestler or the person, because it's like you're gonna take $350 from dedicated fans already.
Also,
and you're not even gonna answer them a question.
Also, gotta keep in mind that like the Woo Out, I was able to pay for that event. Out of cash when I got back. Pay off my credit card about what I put on and stuff like that. No harm done. All easy. You gotta have fans that will use credit cards and not be able to pay it back. You gotta have fans that's gonna be like your friend that you mentioned. Rather go to WrestleMania than give you gas money. It's like $20. It's just you have people like that. When you're up straight, you're a winner and you're playing it, then mazel tov, have fun. But when you have to, you say, hey, I'm going to be a slave to the system so I can be a sheep.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my year right now, and I know I'm scaling back from going to wrestling shows. So I want to go to more horror events, and the horror events are going to be more costly because they all involve meet and greets, and there's always merch tables and stuff of posters, videos, different things that I'm going to want to buy. So I'm starting to plan out some. Plus, I got some film projects I want to do. So everything gets filmed out. I booked the 2 hotels that I got to stay at. I'll start putting the money aside for that. It's not till further in the year, July and September. And then I'll start to get pricing for what things cost, because, someone, you can kind of get a gist of what the autographs or the meet and greets are going to cost. And I'll do what I did last time, put all the money aside. So I'm going out there with, whatever. Plus I went out with extra money. And it didn't touch anything else. It wasn't like I was dipping into a savings fund or fucking selling off bonds and shit. It's like, that's when it becomes, I would say, a negative addiction like gambling. Gambling, there's nothing wrong with gambling. If you can go out and gamble every day and it doesn't affect your daily life or what you have to do or the money that you have to eat with, pay bills with, take care of kids with, then it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But if you're dipping into all these, important things just to try to get that rush, and you're wasting away money, and you can't feed your kids, then it becomes a problem. Then it's an issue. It's the same thing with these. If you can do it all and it's not an issue, go for it. Whatever. That's you. That's what you want to do. That's your thing.
Also, it's how do you carry yourself? Like take Hulk Hogan for example. You did the whole Trump thing, and he got the racism, whatever like that. That's a lot of people say that's hearsay. But what's evident is when he did his beer tour, It was a train wreck. People complained about how he showed up late. He didn't give all the people that, who paid money to see him their autograph is one-on-one. There was an incident where he was throwing beer cans in the crowd and a woman got pegged with it and she needed stitches. It was a complete mess. I mean, how you carry yourself. Because people got to say shit and be like, edit, twist things. It depends how you handle it, how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Hogan dropped the ball.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think he did that himself. He didn't have a tour team, wasn't behind any team. And honestly, I heard it was kind of disorganized.
I mean, it was just a complete disaster. I mean, a lot of people complain about how he was 2 hours late, hour and a half late. It's like, what do you expect? It's Hulk Hogan who thinks he's. If it was any other wrestler,
why was he late? Why was he late? Was he late because it was a weather problem? Was he late because, that's the difference.
I think there wasn't any, like the pictures the guy showed didn't have any rain or seen. Fine, it was outside event. So, but it's just, if it was any other guy, let's say it was Tony Khan, who was racist. They say he was racist. They played a clip say he was racist. They would blacklist him in a second. But it was Hulk Hogan. It's the WWE that's.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just people out there that still fucking are fighting Hulk Hogan. I mean, if I go on to.
I mean, there's still people that's smarten up, but a lot of people, if that was the case, he wouldn't be able to watch this promotion with Eric Bischoff he just recently announced. Eric Bischoff, which, by the way, not too long ago, had to file for bankruptcy. So his business sense is not very right.
I mean, everybody's doing their thing.
Now, that being said, once it's
okay, Sheldon J. Benjamin wrote 22 hours ago, message to add Hulk Hogan. You lost me for whatever with your don't get caught, or as you would call it, apology speech. So rather than screw up my name, pretend we ever had any sort of camaraderie, which we never had, please do me a favor and keep my name out your fucking mouth. I mean, the people out there still don't like Hogan.
Yeah, but he has to have some clout if he's getting all this momentum.
Well, yes. I mean, Hogan held down the 80s and 90s, and there's people in their 50s and 60s right now, and even in their 40s, that Hulk Hogan is, pro wrestling. He is WWF. He is WWE. And to me, to my childhood, yes, that is WWF. If I think of it, I think of Hulk Hogan with his Gold Eagle belt, fighting Andre, fighting Warrior, fighting Randy Savage, doing all this shit. That's what wrestling was for me as a kid. Not really what it is now, and I don't hold weight to that, what it is. Do I enjoy watching that? Yes, I love watching 80s wrestling. I'll go back and watch WrestleMania 5 or 2 or 3 or 4 any day of the week, and I'll watch it for what it is. It's those characters wrestling. It's not Hulk Hogan today wrestling. It's not even Terry Bollea. It's Hulk Hogan, the character that Vince McMahon created and put together to entertain me and all of you guys. And that's the same thing for all of these people. They're characters in a movie. Like watching a James Bond movie, I go back and watch the villains. It's the same thing. These people are characters.
Yeah, but I went these days. I watch his matches against Andre and enjoy them. But if I found out he was going to make an appearance 10 minutes down the road, I would pass.
Yeah, I'm all set with that. I'm good with meeting him today, and that goes for a lot of wrestlers, even people that I do like. I'm good with meeting them so much older. Or for me though, it's not even the age thing, because there's been very few of my wrestlers that have made it to today that haven't been tainted in some way. Like, I'll be honest, I would have loved to meet HBK, but I mean, after all that stuff that came out about him, I'm like, I'm all set. Triple H, all set. Anything to do with Vince, all set. There's nobody on that roster today that I would say, oh my God, I have to meet him.
And if people support him,
even Undertaker, I don't think, like, he got super political for a second there, and a lot of his stuff, it turned me away from, the character of the Dead Man. Kane, same thing. He completely killed himself off for me. There isn't anybody. It'd be cool to meet John Cena, I guess, but not for that price tag, not from someone that's, a year older or younger than me that grew up in Mass. Like, why should I spend all that for that? No, thank you. All set.
And a lot of it's just the social media wrestling fans that have no fucking clue what they're talking about. They're just spouting off. And I'll give you an example. Saturday is Backlash. Jey Uso is defending the championship against Logan Paul. Now, a lot of people saying, like, this match is stupid. Why are you going to have this match? Why are you going to do this? But if you take the time and do a little research, you can see a connection. And you're going to be like, this is good storytelling. When Logan Paul was the young YouTuber and he was like doing raps or whatever like that, he used the word yeet for one of his songs.
Well, a lot of people use the word yeet, yeah.
So now you think about the connection there, about this is where the hatred started. Jey Uso started using yeet. Logan Paul mentioned on one of his show about, I said it first and might sue him, you never know.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right there is the connection. So I'm looking at this as in,
I do like how Logan
title shot, but this is a good storyline here.
I like how Logan Paul. I know that we've criticized him in the past, but I do like how his storyline blurs the lines where he brings in. So I have a legal team. I'll start suing shit, and you're like, you don't know if he means it or not. I don't know. I don't think he will, but there is always the possibility they put the strap on him.
No, it's probably just kind of like, and they might, and if they do,
if he upped his sponsorship game, maybe they put the strap back on him.
The only thing I do not like is you have wrestlers like Karrion Kross, who has put his time and energy in the business for years, and he did not get a WrestleMania match. Not even one little like fucking tag.
Not even that. He got let go at one point, then got taken back. It's like, well, what is going on with this guy? But I feel like, prior to WWE, where was Karrion Kross? What, TNA, Ring of Honor?
TNA, he was Killer Kross.
And I feel like when WWE took these people from TNA and all these others, they punished them and they didn't give them shit.
Well, he was in NXT, he became a two-time world champion in NXT, and he was dominant, actually. Then he went to WWE, Raw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then, after NXT, that's their gateway. But they did the same thing to Dijak. They've done the same thing to Asuka. She was a monster in NXT, and it took her 2.5 years to come back after WWE, losing match after match, being in stupid tag teams and everything else.
But last WrestleMania, you're going to say like Solo Sikoa and
But what about people like Kevin Steen? They took him and did shit with him, made him a comedy act. He was a vicious fucking fighter in other promotions, and then they have him do stupid ass shit like get pushed over in a porta potty.
Oh, he was fucking like a complete asshole back in the indie scene. It's great.
Yeah, and they never utilized that.
Yep.
Even Finn Balor, I think he could have been a lot better.
Finn Balor, they gave him a push, let him be Universal Champion. He gets injured. Too bad. It's unfortunate. It's part of the business. So they had stripped the championship, and it took them how long for them to get another crack at the top?
How long did it take them to find out what they want to do with Nakamura properly and AJ Styles properly and the rest of them? They've been going back and forth with all this shit. But a lot of these guys that came from other promotions, they have no idea how to use it. They utilize them poorly.
And you know why? Because of like Nakamura. They know if they let him go, he'll be a star in Japan again. He'll blow up in Japan. We can't let that happen. We can't let a competitor, have him. It might be smart business-wise, but it's just the truth. It's facts.
Well, yeah, any of these guys, if they got let go, they would be utilized and made stardom somewhere.
It's like WWE ID. I mentioned it's a professional Trojan horse they put in. People gave me shit for it. You see what's happening now.
It's putting a stranglehold on it, and I'll be honest, those matches that they put on, the ID matches, are far superior than any matches that are on the cards. But Because they have more planning involved and it has more WWE, footprint on it, which is going to be a more choreographed match and better choreographed and better storytelling than a lot of the indie people even know how to do it, or they haven't figured it out yet, etc. Not to say the indie scene can't. They put on amazing matches too. But
keep in mind, you can, if someone could raise this up, you can just be like, yeah, but WWE has their hands in independent wrestling, but hopefully it works out well. So far it is. I'm excited. But people
in my mind, I was hoping when ID came up that IWTV would up their game up a little bit and start doing more events IWTV related, independent wrestling related, and start unifying more of the indie scene, from the West Coast to the East Coast. Get that title. To be honest with you, I was talking to someone the other day. Marcus Mathers, great wrestler, great kid, really deserved the IWTV title. But right now, he's a WWE guy. I think that title should go around like TJ Crawford or somebody that's working the indie scene. And I think, that would be actually a great pickup right there. But any which way. But, someone that's been there for a while that's the face of the indie scene. Marcus was the face, but now, he is obviously on to the next level. And with this busy schedule, I think that title is becoming less and less relevant.
But it's also known as, it's like, okay, it's like Joe Hendrick in NXT. He has the TNA championship with him. You recognizing that promotion. Okay, you want to defend it on NXT? Okay, fine. But you have, like, if Marcus Mathers went to, like, ID and he goes to involve with the championship, the IWTV championship, that's how it's not just bury it. Be like, you know what? The IW what? Never heard of them. You say, like, you have the IWTV champion.
Because it's not recognized. Independent wrestling championships aren't recognized. You don't see Ricky Smokes taking the Chaotic World title with him.
Absolutely not.
Okay, because these titles, unfortunately, are not recognized in mainstream wrestling. And honestly, and to be fair, they're not even sometimes they're most of the time not recognized interpromotional, like even indie scene to indie scene. Most promoters will be like, "Don't take my belt to another show. We're not friendly with them. Don't use that there. No, just we just want you with the one belt." They'll take photos on.
WWE doesn't even recognize other titles. It's just like the Speed Championship. That's their own promotion. That's on X. You're not gonna have, like, so go out with Speed Championship, promote that brand, say, hey, watch it on X. No, they don't even acknowledge that. It's just very confusing.
Yeah, I can get into that either. I don't even know what that really is. But I've heard of it obviously, but I don't watch it because I don't even know when it's on. But
just 3-minute matches, brother. Just 3-minute matches on X. Just a bunch of speed. That's all it is, which is great. But come on, it's like fucking you now get acknowledged your own championship.
I don't mind it. It's a nice challenge. 3-minute match challenge. Can somebody win in 3 minutes? You got to really take your opponent out down hard. It puts in a little bit of a real feel fight to it. You might have to throw some strikes and knock your opponent out. I don't know.
It's a great concept.
You're going to go if you're a submission, you're going to go for a lot of submissions early on. Try to fucking get them to tap if you're, whatever it is. It can be done. It's not a horrible idea. 3 minutes. I've seen 5-minute challenge. I've seen these things happen, but
I have no problems with it. But it's like you have the Speed Champion on, like I say, NXT, Raw, or SmackDown. You're not going to have them carry your own WWE Speed Championship with them. Like, what's that? But you have Joe Hendrick, like TNA Championship. He's parading around.
Well, that is weird because that is in its own promotion. Like the NXT champion going on the main roster, not bringing his title with him. Why?
Yeah, it's just kind of strange. It's just okay.
But and who knows? Maybe they'll get rid of that Speed title like they did the 24/7 title, and
Maybe it's doing well.
I mean, the WWE is notorious for starting things, and then when they don't like it, they just stop it. They don't even give explanation on why it ended. They just stop the storyline or stop the fucking title. They don't even give explanation why.
Yeah, they don't feel like the fans.
They don't even kayfabe an explanation. They just let it go.
And I think that's disrespectful towards fans.
Well, yeah, because fans aren't idiots, and the days of kayfabe are over. So it's like, give us something. Either fake the kayfabe or fucking give us the real answer.
Pretty much, yeah. That's
because you have real companies that'll come out and be like, yeah, we're not going to release this such and such. This is getting canceled due to financial reasons. Okay, cool. Hey, we're not getting fucking the 7th sequel of fucking Scream this year. Shit. WWE will stop something and not give any answers, and you don't know why. And then all they had to do was say, it wasn't profitable. We decided to cut it.
Or just do a new project and hype that up, and people are like, oh my God, it's like
they save the new projects when they get into hot water legally. Then they drop the new projects. Ring Boys. Oh, WWE ID.
Exactly.
Oh, look how quick that happened.
But I can acknowledge that and still watch your product. Nothing wrong with it. I acknowledge it. Yeah, but I'm going to watch Raw. Okay.
It's what it is.
I mean, it is what it is. It's fact, but it's not like anything I'm shitting on them. It's just, hey, it's fact.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one's shitting on. The fact is that they do have these accusations and lawsuits out there, and until they're determined in the law of court, it's going to be an open-ended discussion.
Yeah, but it's like, don't say I'm going to get you and your mother, because
you talk about the mighty WWE, you shouldn't be getting death threats. Your kids shouldn't be threatening your family, all that. That's where it gets crazy. That's when people get fucking, they lose their mind over this shit. First of all, WWE affects the lives of very minimal population of social media. Who wins on Raw doesn't affect your lifestyle. You're not going to lose millions of dollars or tank, your corporation because fucking Roman Reigns lost last.
I mean, this is going to ruffle more feathers, but this is fact as well. I recently, last week, wanted to reach out to WWE and say, how can Victor Sin help your promotion? Or you help me. We can work with each other. And when I was trying to find the information, they don't have an email address because the fans harass the company so much. It's mail in or call only, no email. And I found that out because I Googled, why doesn't the WWE have an email address that you can just because they're sick and tired of fans sending in scripts. They're sick and tired of fans telling them what to do. They're like, fuck it.
And that only happens there. I mean, I don't think, maybe they do it in movie studios and shit, but not to the extent that WWE gets this kind of shit. Everybody thinks that they can make a WWE product better than the next guy. Every fan.
They do have a PR department that you can email, but it's like general. Why don't you just start an email and say, you know what? Just to tickle the fans' balls, send your scripts to this email. We'll get back to you. Just fucking let it go. But you have the fans thinking, oh, they're going to listen to my script. I have a shot. Not just, hey, we're going to shut the general questioning down, because.
No, because you know what? They're the almighty. They're the almighty, and they don't even need to listen to your fucking ideas. They're all stupid.
But meanwhile, the WWE fans is deep throwing Triple H. It's just like,
and they think Triple H is listening to him too.
They don't care. A lot of these wrestlers don't care about the average fan. It's just a fact. I'm sorry to say that. If they
People don't even care about the wrestlers. They threaten fucking them. They don't care about nothing.
I mean, you have Carmella just saying that WWE is a sexist company. You have Cora Jade coming out saying that they body shame now. And Gigi Dolan says after her 30 days, grace period in June, she's going to come out and say how the WWE treated her. You got 3 women wrestlers in a row coming out saying, hey, the WWE is this, and this. all these small coincidences going to start up to be bigger and bigger to a big picture, which is fine.
Well,
but acknowledge it.
Thing, there's a whole generation of wrestlers that passed away way too young. What stories would they have told? What would have they been able to give us for insight? And what stories were they part of? And that's the problem with wrestling is that there's a lot of people that have passed away too early that who knows what could have happened. If Macho Man was alive today, what stories would he have told us?
Yeah.
What did he see? What did he see with the young Vince and a young this and a young that? And, others too.
There's some
Hogan ain't going to say nothing because he's paid for him, but, and that's the same goes for John Cena. I mean, Vince still owns parts of his name. For crying out loud, he's not going to come out and say anything bad. These people, but there's other, and either will The Rock and there's a few other people, but there's people out there that, either they're waiting to or they're figuring out how to get their story out there without, losing all their fucking, and it goes back to greed, all their money. I mean, if you're a WWE legend, you don't want to lose those legend contracts.
And some conspiracy theorists would say that, okay, Ultimate Warrior and Vince didn't like each other for the longest time. They got together one weekend, did the Hall of Fame. The Ultimate Warrior died. Chris Benoit, there's questions and controversy around that. Some people say Macho Man Randy Savage. Controversy, he all of a sudden suddenly had a heart attack behind the wheel. It's possible. But it's just
the vice president saw the Pope, and then hours later, the guy was dead.
Yeah. It's just.
And now they have AI generated images of Trump as the Pope.
I saw that.
He made himself.
I saw that, and it was just like.
If you fucking assassinate him so you can become the new Pope?
I mean, you can't. I mean, if you want to say like that didn't happen, that's your opinion. But if you cannot take a step back and just go, okay.
And the only reason why, with the WWE, it's like, well, we saw this. We saw that, in the case of, Jimmy Fly Snuka, that he killed his girlfriend and Vince helped cover that up. And we never got to the end of the story because, well, Jimmy died before he could get to trial. But when he was he was charged with murder.
People say that Vince knew about Pat Patterson's, rotation.
Why wouldn't he know about his closest people in a company that you run? When everybody and their mother will tell you that Vince is a hand-on worker, they would watch you and micromanage you to no extent. He knew everything that was going on.
And you didn't catch the fucking kids being...
Didn't bother him. It didn't affect him.
You see,
keep your problems to you and don't make them fucking bother me. That's probably what he said. And we'll all be copacetic here. But maybe pay me a little extra money so I keep quiet.
But also, you just have to acknowledge, saying, like, this did happen. Not saying boycott WWE. Not saying that Vince, don't change your opinion about Vince not being a brilliant mind in the wrestling world. You don't have to. But facts are facts. It's just...
The problem is we live in a fucking world that nobody wants to believe facts, okay? You got people out there that say that, Sandy Hook never happened. You got people out there that go as far as to say the Holocaust never happened. Old historical things never happened, fabricated. So, I mean, unfortunately, there's people that believe the opposite of, truth or even what's in front of their faces. Some of them have, strong arguments for their cause of why these, events or other events didn't take place. But in these cases, especially the Ring Boy case, we've heard the testimony of the Ring Boys. It came to a conclusion. One of them ended up killing themselves. And he just didn't decide to do that. Even that's from the abuse.
And you can't just say you can't say, hey, Pat Patterson. No, they've done everything but be a statue for the guy. It's just like, why? Why the fuck? I would not be like Sami Zayn not too long ago and praise him. I would just be like, get the fuck.
I get it though. He gets credit for being one of the first gay wrestlers to come out.
Yeah, but he already molested the boys before that.
See, that's what I hate about it, because I feel like he connected homosexuality into something very negative.
I mean, you're just like much.
Because there's already, I mean, to be honest, let's be truthful. There's already a lot of people that believe that, homosexuality equals pedophilia. They just have that in their fucking head. That if you're gay, you're going to molest. It's stupidest idea. One has nothing to do with the other. Liking the same sex does not have anything to do with liking children, but there's fucking people out there that already believe that. Now you get Pat Patterson that comes out being the gay wrestler, and he has charges of molesting boys on his thing. It's just like, what the fuck?
And we're gonna go first look at this episode. Like I said earlier, it's like people connects gay people with being a pedophile. What's your evidence? Well, that's not substantial. I can come up with more evidence saying that professional wrestling, whoever's in professional wrestling, has involved in pedophilia one way or another. There's more credibility behind that than gay men being pedophiles. It's just like,
no, I mean the chances of a gay man being, normal and a gay man being Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance, it's like 1 in a billion. Like, just because somebody has a sexual preference doesn't mean that they're into all this other fucking dark shit. One doesn't equal the other. One doesn't lead into the other. And there's plenty of straight heterosexual people that are straight up pedophiles.
There is.
There's people that will go home and be with their wives and then sleep with children that they kidnap. There's people that, touch girls that are boys. There's women that touch boys. It's not always just a guy touching a guy.
Right, but you want to know how much of an issue this is becoming? 10 years ago, that would get you 10 to 15 years in prison. These days, house arrest in some states.
I mean, I don't even know. I mean, it's, we talked about earlier, the children should always be protected, and it's just scary. You hear about it even on the indie scene, and I've seen it because I've seen posts that, people will post, went to this show, this creepy guy, was caught taking photos of my daughter, 7-year-old daughter that I brought to the show. He had his camera on her the whole night. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's just the world that we live in.
But now, like you said, you connect the wrestling to pedophilia, you can connect the wrestling to sexual abuse in general. And that's on all accounts. That's on mainstream wrestling and on the indies.
Which I'm not going to say I'm not going to stop watching independent wrestling or mainstream wrestling. I'm just saying these are the facts.
I mean, it's not all of wrestling. It's not all of indie wrestling. It's not just one big giant porn ring conspiracy. It's just a lot of people seem to be hiding out in it, and I think it goes back to of what wrestling started. It started as a carny, thing.
You're right.
Where would criminals and outcasts go to hide? They would hide in the carnival.
Yeah.
Police aren't going to go and question the carnival. They were traveling all the time, just going, moving. A lot of these people get in there because they can travel and move and just get lost in the shuffle.
And those are just facts. I mean, it's not saying don't go to a circus or anything like that. It's just those are facts. You even don't know what independent wrestling circuits, promotions these days that are on the up and up or have known there's a sex offender. You don't know. You think
you don't know. I mean, even with, like I said, that whole Duke the Dumpster Drosy thing, nobody knew that. That hadn't been speculated. People haven't been talking about that for years. Oh, this guy might be something wrong with them.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
Came out of the fucking blue.
Like, what the fuck? It's like,
But then you got someone like Marty Jannetty, who's never probably touched a kid in his life. He killed a pedophile because he was assaulted as a kid. Came out online, said he killed the person too. Seemed to beat that charge. Self-defense. Says the most wildest shit. Does party drugs like no tomorrow. But somehow, people don't take him too serious. But it's like, dude, you ever wonder why this guy has been the way he was?
I look at Cain Velasquez. He's still in legal battles because.
But I mean, who knows what he went through in the 80s and 90s in WWE working with Shawn Michaels?
It's just like, all right, Ryan Janae killed a guy, was able to beat the case. Meanwhile, you have Cain Velasquez, whose child was molested. He goes to the guy, kills the guy for touching his child, and I still think he's in prison.
Yeah,
It's just
but
like,
Marty did it when he was a kid, I guess. Marty killed the guy.
okay, that's with his kid. Okay, that makes everything. Because
I guess he stabbed him behind. If something happened behind the movie theater, and he stabbed him behind the movie theater, something like that. I forget the whole story. He wrote the whole thing out drunk one night, and the police knocked on his door. But yeah, Cain did that as an adult, and that made the whole difference. But again, that murder was it really unjustified? I mean, had the pedophile went to jail and got killed in jail, which he would have. What's the difference? What's the difference in that? I don't see the difference.
I don't see a difference either, but
I don't know. I mean, it's a scary world out there. Having kids makes it even scarier because you really don't know what to trust and what not to trust. You know that better than anyone. Just in dealings, you have 2 children. You always have to protect them and shield them from different things.
And people say I'm overthinking about the WWE independent wrestling, maybe, but is it better to overthink things?
Well, let me ask you: when you're thinking about these things, and are you going online to make fun of the WWE to push another brand? Are you saying these things to gain clout, or are you saying these things because in the back of your head you're thinking about your 2 children going to a show or being approached by a wrestler and something bad happens? And see, that's where it all goes.
Independent wrestling. I mean, that's something that's more affordable that I'll be open to take my kids to. Yeah, you're definitely back in your mind. You're just thinking to yourself, is it, because my philosophy is this. It's like people can do whatever the fuck they want. I do not care. It does not affect my life. You can say WWE sucks or whatever, or they're great, whatever like that. You're entitled to your opinion because it does not affect my life. But when you have to think about things that would affect your life, you got to put that in the forefront. People would be like, you say something bad about WWE, and someone say, "Oh, fuck you," like you're insulting Triple H's, fucking firstborn or something like that, and you're just fighting for him. And Triple H.
Well, I mean, that's it. That's the thing to a lot of these people. Wrestling is life, and and I get it. Wrestling was my life for a long time, and I would defend the indie scene, not so much the scene, not so much an individual promotion. Although there's a few promoters I'll go to bat for. The scene itself because of what it represented to me. And that's seeing all the people that were good, all the people that did have an open heart for this stuff and had a passion, going out to entertain. I know they're not making a lot of money because the promoters don't pay a lot. And indie wrestling isn't very lucrative. You have to do a grind. You have to do loops. You have to freaking hustle. You have to sell merch. You have to drive a lot. And sometimes your drive equals your pay. I can appreciate all that, so I would defend it. With WWE, they were making big money and still abusing people. It's just like, fuck.
And it's uncalled for.
Or, to treat someone like shit or to treat a fan like shit. Granted, WWE has a press package, so they don't really interfere with fans too much. But, not too long ago in WWE, they had that, the guy that they caught on that To Catch a Predator fucking show hanging around backstage. Now, all those wrestlers, at least one of them must have recognized that guy. At least,
I'm gonna bring you know why Catch Predator was taken off the air?
Why?
Because there was a case where some very well-known politician in Texas, he got busted. And then they were going to arrest him because he was supposed to meet up with the kid. Catch a Predator was all, Chris Hansen was all set. Guy never showed. So they're like, fuck this. He's not coming. They did it twice. Tried to bring him over, nothing. So like, fuck this. We're sending the fucking SWAT after him. And when the police knocked on his door, the guy had a gun and said, I didn't do anything wrong, and killed himself. Even though they have all these messages and nude photos of him and stuff like that, he killed himself. And the sister of the guy sued NBC, saying the emotional stress because Chris Hansen in the show put on him. That's what pushed him over the edge. And they were canceled shortly after from that because since they start going, well, emotional stress, are we going to really press charges on this guy because of the emotional stress he was put on the show? His life's already ruined. And NBC lost ratings, and they were like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to cancel it. Too much liability.
The guy killed himself, on live TV or whatever.
But it wasn't on live TV. It was like they tried to put him on live TV, and he didn't show up. Didn't take the bait. So they were like, screw it. We're going to go after him because he's still a danger. And the police knocked on his door, not on TV or anything like that, but because Chris Hansen instigated everything, trying to bring him on TV.
This dude was already over the edge.
He was already over the edge, and he killed himself. And they put the blame on NBC and Chris Hansen. He's saying that guy was a pedophile and a danger, but the emotional stress.
Imagine if they fabricated the fucking evidence just to get ratings, though. That's the problem. You don't know on TV what's fabricated.
I mean, WWE came out and said like we did 70,000, and their real numbers down below said 63,000. It's like, I mean, there was a time in WWE.
There was a time in WWE that the people were confused because Stone Cold shows up and Brian Pillman got a real fucking gun. But then how long after that did Brian Pillman fucking shoot himself or kill himself?
Yeah, it's just crazy. Which is like, hey, just acknowledge the fucking thing. Just say, yeah, probably next. That's fine, but it's fucking acknowledge it. Jesus Christ. It's not so you see all this evidence. Okay, Vince was an asshole. Okay, but it's just like,
see, it shouldn't even be Vince is an asshole. You need to acknowledge and then something has to happen. Okay, Vince is an asshole. Vince did this. Remove Vince. They tried to do that, but the reality of it is that's only on the outside. On the books, Vince is still third owner or some shit. Third highest stakeholder. He should be banned from owning any stake in the company until his trial is all clear.
They were very quiet about it. They're very quiet.
That's why at the end of the day, I kind of hope it turns into a RICO case because they have multiple charges spanning decades in multiple different fucking areas.
But people just don't care. And that's the thing.
Nobody cares. They don't have to care either, to be honest with you. Me personally, I care. I'm not a freedom fighter, though. I'm not going to go out and try to ultimately bury WWE. That's not my style. If I'm asked or if I have to talk about it, this is the kind of conversations we have. Unless something cool happens or somebody cool comes back or I see someone that I know on the TV, then, I'll talk positive. I'm very happy for the kids that have all made it. I think they're going to do very well because I think this generation of kids that are going into the WWE aren't going to be the same as the generations years ago. They're not going to do this shady shit to get ahead. They'll just walk away or they're fucking out people. And that's what, the culture has become nowadays is we don't wait years or decades to talk about this stuff. People talk about them getting assaulted the same day it happens. This brings awareness. It removes the issue. And we don't have these kinds of things where, Janelle Grant was being abused for years.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, you got to think to yourself about this. Okay. Oh, it's not true. Then why is Brock Lesnar not being used?
It's just and that's the thing. You can say, okay, fine, we're going to remove Vince for a precautionary reason.
Until the case
you're going to remove Brock Lesnar, who technically all he did was ask for I would say, lewd content. I don't even know what they consider that. I don't even know if it's against the law.
But still, it's just for some reason, it's just like, why are you not?
To be honest with you, if I'm an adult and I talk to you online, you're a female, there's certain things I can say and there's certain things that I can't say. But for the most part, a lot of it isn't unlawful. Is it rude? Yes. Is it distasteful? Yes. But if I hit you right off the bat talking about you sexually, there's not much. It's not against the law. You just basically can tell me to fuck off. You can block me. Or you can agree and say, yeah, let's do that. Because we're all adults here. This isn't a child, this is an adult. Now, I don't know how it is because they work together. It might have been different. They weren't strangers or they weren't, meeting. Because, let's face it, the internet, people send dick pics, people send crazy shit. I've gotten crazy emails from guys, girls, and who knows what else. I can only imagine what these people get in their DMs. But from an adult to an adult point of view, I don't see, the harm in somebody saying a comment, as long as it's not like, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to fucking, kidnap you. That's getting a little crazy. But if you compliment somebody, let's face it, people did this years ago at the bar all the fucking time. They got drunk, they hit on women.
Yeah, but the thing
That
is,
was that was the culture, and then the internet came along, and people just started to do it online. And the only difference with online is a lot of them are a little bit more bolder because they hide behind a screen that they will show a picture, they will say a little bit more. But it's nothing different than the alcohol wouldn't do back in the day at a bar.
it
Now,
is.
how they handle it though is different, and how they handle it. But see, now where they work together, I think that becomes, a work environment. This wasn't outside of work. This somehow was involved with WWE contract.
It's one of those things. I'm not saying boycott because they did this, boycott the brand. It's just facts are fucking.
No, but get to the bottom of it and clean out the infestation of issue.
That's what. I just don't watch. It's just what it is. It's just, you just don't watch. I don't fucking bitch. I don't watch.
I watch, what I want to watch.
I watch a lot more WWE than AEW, to be honest.
I have issue getting into AEW. I don't hate AEW. I just have issue getting into it. Getting into the storylines. I was very big into it the first 2 years that it launched. I watched it religiously. I even watched Dark pretty much most of the episodes. And then somewhere down the line, they've just lost. But I mean, face it, these days I haven't been watching much wrestling at all. I watch mostly horror movies, going back, watching movies that I haven't seen, or rewatching them, rewatching remastered versions, deleted scenes, and other things, and just taking a break from wrestling because it honestly got taxing. Not on my wallet, not on my time, but just on my mind because it's a lot of shows, a lot of weeks, and then you have all the outside bullshit. And the outside bullshit honestly just kills the thrill of anything that can take place. We've had our issues of problematic people and other people that can kind of slow that vibe down or kill it. And it's just like, what's the point?
It's like the politician episode. We were going to have him on. We're going to talk to him about it. And we got so much pushback on it. This is how the approach I should have brought with this is telling those people, do you pay my bills? No.
No, but then he went on to the Leo Connor show, which he got I didn't see no physical pushback when he made the announcement. I guess he got pushed back after the fact, but in Leo's defense, he only thought it was the isolated incident. He didn't realize that he had a history of these remarks and comments, which people brought to his fact after the case. Now,
but you need to, that negative.
The victims came out and just said, remind people, that inviting these hostile, disgusting people on shows just gives them a platform to talk to. We do not blame, the host of the show, though. He was just doing what he does and so forth, so on. And as it should be, the views and opinions of, the host does not reflect the views and opinions of the guest or vice versa, whatever the fuck you want to word it. We never agree with, hardly agree with the guests on what they're doing. We don't bring them on because they're right. So that shit, half of the time we don't even know why they're coming on. Like Yosef, we didn't know why the fuck he was coming on. We thought he was coming on to fucking bury one of us. Nobody knew, he was going to come bury half of the freaking scene.
But that politician episode that guy did and our Yosef episode, what they had in common?
What?
They did very good numbers. Because people were
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that we shouldn't have been.
trying to drag it out as long as I did. That was my fault. I should have just said that's the Yosef episode. That's it.
No, but I mean, maybe we should have stuck our ground with the politician. Maybe we should have let him have light of day and treat it as a legitimate journalism. I mean, you got to remember there was people like Vice that went into, talk to ISIS members when that first broke story, and they made this documentary, and I'm sure none of them believed in ISIS. They were over there filming a documentary, and they're taking raw video and footage, and they're getting all this raw shit. I mean, life isn't always beautiful. A lot of the times there's a very ugly side to it. That's the point of some of these things, to bring that ugliness out. As repulsive as the politician is, there was questions I legitimately wanted to ask him what was going through his mind when he made the comments. What was his thought process behind it? Was he trying to be fun? Was he serious? Is this really what he believed? Does this influence his politics as a real life politician? All these things. I actually had legitimate questions. And I understand that it would have given him a spotlight to kind of apologize, but I might have not have given him the opportunity to do so. This isn't an apology episode. This is I want to find out fucking answers episode.
And what happened? No name promoters came out and said we shouldn't do it. And I'm going to say why no name promoters, because if you're in Florida, if you're in Texas, if you're in California, are they going to know you? No. We have a better shot to be known in those territories than those guys. Might be popular in like Massachusetts, Maine, or whatever, but outside, no one knows you.
No, I do kind of regret that one because I think we kind of bowed before the masses, and at the end, people were fucking screwed us over anyways and talk shit about us anyways. I mean,
Yep.
More so me, but it's like, you know what? Why not? At the end of the day, before the politician, did that, I never had a problem with the guy. Granted, we never talked about things like that, but I mean, I would see him as a fan at shows. I saw him, a week prior at like Teddy Good's last show. He's thanking me for, coming in and filming at NCW and putting the matches up. And guys are really happy because sometimes the turnaround time isn't there. And, all this stuff. Now, I don't condone racism. I don't agree with racism. I don't want to really be friends with racist people. But I don't know if one racist comment makes somebody racist.
I don't think so. It all depends if you apologize. It's just.
But even without the apology, forget the apology. I mean, is it natural or normal to think that at least everyone in their lifetime has had one or two at least racist thoughts?
It's in our DNA. I hate to say this, it is in our DNA.
And I mean, not even now, but like more so when we were growing up, there was a lot of stereotypes that were thrown around. And they were very common stereotypes. It wasn't just black people, white people. It was a lot of Jewish stereotypes, a lot of freaking Asian stereotypes. Stereotypes were everywhere. And they were almost part of society to the point that, you could see them in commercials, cartoons, and everywhere else.
Yeah.
Those have all been pulled back. You've seen it, even as far as the NFL pulling back team names and other things and getting rid of these stereotypes from all these different religions and nationalities. But growing up, it was totally different. So at that time period, yes, I'm sure, people have had, my grandparents had said racist things coming from Italy. They made a few racist comments. That didn't make them racist, though. They loved all people. And I guess that's what I wanted to know. If this was this guy really believed, is he like the next Adolf Hitler out there, really spewing this fucking hate? Or did he just say an off-color fucking joke because he's an asshole? And, he'll try to do better in life.
And people on social media just added gasoline to the fire.
Well, that's what I don't know. Unless people, I don't know what happened behind the stands. I don't know what happened backstage. I don't know what happened in other promotions and other times and other periods. But I would like to know. I mean, as an investigative journalist, I find it interesting. That's part of podcasting and interviewing with journalists. I mean, and to get the story and to get these scoops. Otherwise, I'm just asking questions, and anybody can ask questions. I can have an AI just ask questions.
Anyways, brother, I got to tend to my daughter.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking with us. Like I said, things are going to be changing around here. I know we got some announcements coming up soon.
Oh, yeah, we do.
As far as what's going to be taking place. The podcasting days are far from over, though. That's all people need to know. And a storm is coming. Something big is. And it might change the face of what podcasting is for a little bit. It might shock some waves. It might shock some senses. And I hope it does.
We needed the time off to get our thoughts together and look back at our past mistakes and say, like, okay, how could we handle this better? Not saying it was our fault 100%, but how could we handle this, and this better? And like with the Yosef interview, I should have just done it and just ignore the comments. Fuck it.
Shut comments off.
I know. I mean, no, I would keep the comments on and just roast them on the air. Fuck it. If you guys say I'm an asshole, or whatever.
Well, why not?
But I got to take this phone call right here.
Okay. Well, thank you
very much.
Thank you.
And we will make the announcements and set the war on fire very soon.
Very good. Very good. Look forward to it.
Appreciate your time, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody at home, for being patient here and sticking with us. I know we had a little bit of a delay in between this episode, but honestly, it was well worth it. Talk with the guy himself. We haven't had him on our show officially, and we haven't really talked to him in a bit, and he's been busy, like he said. But we do have announcements coming up, something big in the works. Stay tuned for it all. Thank you for watching VSW Podcast. Versace Stoner, out.